Hi there. Now, do you remember the Realacc Diversity system? A bit like a sort of copy of the LaForge, in fact, uses the same code base. Now, previously I had this, it seemed to go okay, and then I tested it out with a plane, not at any great distance, and I had an awful picture. I'll show you a little bit here, and compared to the normal FatShark receiver, just terrible. Well, this is the new one. Looks like this before it gets connected, and I also got the FatShark molded covers, so I should be able to install it on the goggles quite nicely. However, I have used them because I wanted to check them out before I did anything big, and I've noticed a problem. There's two problems in fact, and for some of this I'm going to have to cut to some close-ups. So on the molding things, when you put them on to the FatSharks, if we see here, they seem to fit in pretty nicely, and they're tough, proper bits, and that's good. If you have a look here, I'm going to put it in. Well, I'm going to put this molding and install the main receiver part only, and that goes okay. It's kind of not quite sitting in there as I want it to, so the hole looks like it's slightly too far over to the right in order to get this rocker switch here. It needs to move over a bit. Now, and again, I can do the same and mount the other bit. The problem comes when you want to mount both of them. I remember asking the question directly about if there would be a space here, and in fact here, for the wire to go through, because unless you want to hack your goggles for the wire to run it internally, it's going to need to go on the outside. And yeah, it's going to look messy, or you can cover that or do something to it. But at the very least, I'd want to test to make sure this was absolutely brilliant before I considered hacking my goggles to pieces. And this is the problem. They haven't put a bit in this, so you get a space. So this bit kind of lifts up and goes misaligned, and it goes okay. This bit's pretty bad and just won't shut down at all, and it's really pushing against these cables, and at some point they are going to come unstuck. So the first point I'd say is you have to get a file and go in these and get bits filed away if you want to use this as intended. The second issue I found is kind of the same as I found the first time, I think. I'm not 100% sure yet, and I need to test it. So I use this using my various mini quads, and I used it in my world record micro quad distance of 521 meters, because that's only got a little 25 milliwatt VTX, and so I used a 3-turn helical on the diversity end, hoping to get as much range from that as I could, and it seemed to work okay, I think. And the pitch was absolutely fine, albeit breaking up because of the range. But again, pictures of the other VTXs I'm using, like the AMWay and I think a Foxeer in one of the other quads, absolutely perfect, not a problem at all. And so at this point I kind of move on to say, oh, I want to test some range out now using planes. It just so happened though, I was testing this with my big quad, with the gimbal for the, if you've seen the Firefly 7S videos, trying to make that fit in. And I noticed that it was having this slight warping issue when I was using the receiver. And I then hooked up exactly the commonality between that and the planes I was using previously, and it's the Immersion 600 VTX, which seems to be causing a problem. So to do a quick test, I went out with this my quad with a 7S on it, and I flew one battery with just the single Realacc receiver, and it looks like this. And you can see there's kind of this weird there's a little bit of a wobble on the text where it doesn't seem to be holding properly, and I kind of see these as kind of light bars against some of the received picture there. And I see this in the goggles as well, which is how I sort of picked it up in the first place. There's a problem though. I swapped the receiver over to the normal FatShark one, and I ran the same test, but for some reason it only recorded in black and white. I don't know why. I've since just did a quick test recording something and it's in colour fine. So it might have been this thing where, I don't know, I turned the DVR on at the wrong order and it's come up and it thinks it's PAL when it's NTSC, which has caused it to go black and white. Despite that, I think you can see that there's no wobble on the text in the corner and there's no colour bars there. What, there's no colour at all. There's no strange lighting in a kind of a horizontal bar. So it might be a bit too early to tell. So I want to redo the test with something a bit easier. If I just fly my wing up, just like I did the quad to 500 meters, if I do a wing to a K, I should be able to see the problem easily. And if it comes down to it's the ImmersionRC 600 milliwatt VTX, then I'll try and find out why it is, see if there's a local fix to it. If not, then it could be a case of, well, these are no good, or these are good, depending on what you want to do. I kind of think it might be happening a lot, but because these are being used almost exclusively for the sort of race quad type things, because that's all anybody seems to be flying at the moment, especially in Diversity where they want to just sit there. Whereas anybody that's going long range on a plane has tended to go a tracker or a different controlling and video signal so they can get more distance. I might kind of be the only one that's using this combination of VTX and receiver. If you are, if you're using an Immersion VTX with one of the Realaccs, or in fact the LaForge or the Furious FPV, I think it's called, I'm interested to know if that's working, not working with you. I think the LaForge has got a slightly different receiver, which might be better and might work than the Realacc. Otherwise, stay tuned. I'll redo the test using a wing and then I'll see if I can do it. Of course, if you're only going to be flying mini quads and you're not going to be using the ImmersionRC, then this might be a cheap and useful thing for you. If you want to do all sorts of VTXs though, then it might be rubbish. So I'll find out and I'll update later. Bye for now.